Hello again, this is Valerie Gaddis. Welcome back to my channel. I came upon something the other day about a Canadian production wheel, also known as CPW. I belong to the group online called Ravelry. If you have not joined that, you're missing out. It's a group of fellow people that have similar interests. It offers free patterns, it offers so much advice. But what's of interest to me are the special interest groups. There are so many special interests specifically for, let's say, Louette wheels or great wheels, spindle wheels, antique wheels, kind of like social media, but not. Much more, what should I say, in-depth research in the groups. There's one called CPW. Join it if you have a Canadian production wheel. Even if you don't know your way around Ravelry, what you can do is keyword searches. Once you get into the group, there's a little line down at the bottom that says keyword search inside the group. What that will do is take you to specific areas that maybe are of interest to you. I was researching wheel ratios. One of those geeky terms, I know, that gets a little confusing, especially when you're in a double drive wheel. Well, I came upon a thread called Triple Driving Your Double Drive. And I thought, what in the world is that? And once I got onto it, and it was really quite an old thread, very extensive, I thought, why didn't anyone ever tell us this before? Because most Canadian production wheels, a lot of them, and we'll look at it closely, have two grooves on the wheel. Sometimes they have the whirl on the flyer with two grooves, and they're both nearly the same size. So why? Well, we think about Canadian production wheels and their history. There are a lot of them, face it. Some of them are very worn. They were used extensively. They were originally used for the cottage industries, to people to be able to spin fiber in order to sell to weavers to make a living, a meager living. And with that result, some of the Canadian production wheels are really quite worn. Some of them spin wonderfully, some of them need restored, some of them look like new. Wide range, and so many makers. Not all of them are the same. Even in the discussion in the group, they commented that there are certain variables within the different makers that make a difference. So, triple drive. What do they mean, triple drive? So that had to be explained to me. I read it over in detail. The original poster commented that she normally used number 30 or 40 crochet cotton for her drive band. And she also later in the thread commented that the thinner the drive band seemed to be a little more control and be able to spin even finer fiber. So that was something to consider, the drive band. And another thing to consider was whether it's grippy or smooth and hard. And she found the ones that were smooth and hard really had best results in order to spin very fine fiber. The advantage in a triple drive. I am amazed I did not know this before. Why isn't it common? The triple drive, what it will do if we utilize both whirls on the flyer mechanism, it will somewhat stabilize the wheel. It won't wobble as much, and it will make it spin much smoother. What it will do is it will keep essentially the same speed on the flyer. It might vary a tiny amount, nothing to worry about in essence. But it will smooth the uptake, and it will make the uptake much easier. So if you're really trying to spin lace weight or even finer, this will enable you to do it. It kind of makes me think of the way my husband says I drive, that I tend to slam on the brakes whenever I hit a stop sign or I stop too suddenly, rather than a slow stop or a gradual stop. In the same way with taking off, I want to go, let's not waste any time. So this will tend to take that grabbiness, that sudden acceleration away from the CPW. It will calm it, if you want to say. So, surprisingly, you can spin short fiber with it, even cotton. That's amazing. I even tried it last night. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was just crazy. It kind of, you might even think of, it's kind of in place of Scotch tensioning. It also is somewhat in place of cross-lacing. Cross-lacing can be bothersome and a problem, especially whenever you get up near the orifice. You know, you're running out of room to be able to use the cross-lacing to enhance the drive even farther, to be able to spin even thinner, is to use the triple drive, and someone commented to use just a couple of cross-lacings to slow it down even more. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I have a band on here already. I really don't want to take that off, but I think I can use some bigger yarn and kind of show you the route and change the position of the camera, and hopefully it'll work out. One other thing, once we get into it, and I might forget to tell you, since we are utilizing both whirls on the flyer, plus the bobbin whirl, there's 3 that we're utilizing there. Someone mentioned also in the group that if you move one of those whirl bands over to the bobbin when you're applying, then you have a little better bobbin pull. So that's worth exploring too. I often say that I think like a mad scientist, and I don't mind doing mad scientist experiments. We need to think outside the box. There's so much there that was in history that we're not told, so sometimes we have to learn by trial and error. So let's try and look at this wheel here shortly and see how it's strung up for a triple drive. So let's take a look. Hope you can see it okay at this angle. It's a little hard to focus the camera. Again, let's look at it closely. We got the bobbin groove or whirl, and then the 2 whirls here. And then let's look at the wheel. We've got 2 grooves here on the wheel also. It is mentioned in the Ravelry group that some of them thought one of the grooves was a little bit deeper than the other. Why? I don't know. But I've often wondered, well, why are there 2 grooves here on the whirl? And they're both essentially the same. They just look the same to me. There might be a fractional bit of difference, but not enough for difference in whirl ratio or wheel ratio. One of the advantages in a U-bolt, which is what this one is, see the mother of all, I can move it back and forth on the table in order to align the whirl with the grooves in the wheel. So that was clever designing in that respect. So let's imagine we were doing a double drive, and we're just going to completely ignore this one. So in a double drive, we're making one great big 8 with the drive band crossing here in the bottom. So once we have done the 8 on the drive wheel, we're going to not stop, keep going. So what we're going to do is just bring it around the last pass and bring it underneath the bobbin here and tie it then with a square knot or a surgeon's knot. So the poster in Ravelry, she mentions she likes to do a little slip knot, place it on the maiden, and we're going to pretend I'm going to put the drive band on. So now I've got someone holding it if I don't have anyone with me, and I will admit, this is so awkward. You're supposed to be about 1.5 to 2 times the length of your regular drive band, but you're going to go up and over the wheel, come down underneath, and let's see if I can do it here without being terribly awkward and blocking the camera. Okay, so now we've got one pass. We're going in the back groove on that one. We want it in this groove. So now we are coming back up. We are now going to do second groove and go up over the wheel again going in the back groove. So again, this is very awkward, but we'll try and get it done. I'm just using some sugar and cream for demonstration purposes so you can see it easier in the camera. And if you had another person helping you, it'd be quite wonderful, believe me. So now we're in the back groove on that one. Now we bring it up. And now we are ready to go into the bobbin groove. And I know that just seems so odd that it has done that. And we are going to go now into the front groove of the wheel. So now we are nearly all the way around with our triple drive. And it really takes a lot more drive band material than you would normally think. What few people I have seen post on social media, they have been doing this for years and they are not going back. Okay, so now we have 3 underneath here. But what are we going to do? So now we have the end. We grab the one that's on the maiden. And here I'm going to turn it into a surgeon's knot or tie it quickly just for demonstration purposes. Again, I'm not going to leave it on there. But we've got one here in the back groove, the front groove of the whirl, and the bobbin groove. We have 2 bands in the back groove of the wheel, and the bobbin band is here in the front. And you would think, oh my goodness, it's going to be a mess. It's not even going to turn. It does. It works wonderfully. And as I mentioned even last night, I was spinning cotton. I had no idea I'd be able to spin cotton on a CPW. That's amazing. So try it. Think outside the box. We're all mad scientists at heart. Don't be afraid to try something. What's the worst could happen? You're going to have to throw away some drive band material? That's no problem. Well, anyway, have fun with spinning. And remember, we're still learning from the past. They knew so much more than we know today, especially about CPWs. They worked for them for a living. They worked with them day and night in order to make an income. They are quite a wheel, very historic. So happy spinning. Have some fun.